The party atmosphere in Kids kept on going through to Sunday slalom, reaching its peak on Saturday evening when the big draw for the race came immediately after the most crowded prize-giving ceremony of the winter. 12 hours later, the good weather and another huge crowd, around 35,000, welcomed the skiers on a glistening, icy slope. There were thousands of fans gathered at the finish area cheering on Marcel Hirscher, winner only once in slalom this season at Levi, where Henrik Kristoffersen was missing. The first to come down was Stefano Grosso, ready to end a fabulous weekend for Italy on another high. On what was an extremely difficult slope, the Italian attacked and got it right, setting a time difficult to beat. For Team Norway, the weekend in Kits really was cursed. After the disappointments in the speed races, out went Kristoffersen in run 1. 0 points in slalom for the first time in 25 months.
I think it's better to risk in a few races and then when you're finished, you're on the podium or you win, and then go out once or twice. If you go out once or twice a year, that's pretty normal. It's less normal to finish all the races like I did last year, but I've done 21 races in a row where I've finished all of them, so yeah, it hasn't been too bad until now, so it's okay.
Henrik's mistake gave way to many more. After 10 seconds, there was a gate that was a particular nuisance for many, ending the dreams of some big names. 5 of the top 15 failed to see the finish line. Despite the huge support, Marcel Hirscher completed a subdued run. While Dave Riding skied an incredible run, taking over the lead ahead of Stefano Gross and Felix Neureuter. At the interval, the big question was how would the British skier handle the tension, and would he claim a historic victory? It didn't take long in the second run for the slope to cut up, but when it was the turn of the home hero, it seemed to magically become smooth again. Looking to make up for the first run, Marcel Hirscher was close to perfection. He set a blistering time and once again could smell the air of a podium finish. It was up to the remaining 3 to thwart him. Neureuter made too many mistakes and finished 6th. Stefano Gross barely gave himself the time to understand what was going on before finding himself out of the race, throwing away a golden opportunity. So came the turn of Dave Riding, who held his nerve and skied without mistakes, but Hirscher's time remained unbeatable. However, second place was more than enough, at least for today, and Dave was proud of his performance, the best ever result for a British athlete.
It was tough, I had to really focus and believe what the work I put in would help me down there, and I just went for it. I heard the crowd and I thought, I bet they're cheering for Marcel, but yeah, I'm really, really proud with how I handled the pressure, and it shows that I've got the mental side as well as the skiing, which is just as important, so I'm really happy.
It was a moment to celebrate for Riding, but the Austrian fans were going crazy for the third win of the season and podium number 13 of the number 1 in the world.
So often in this season so far, the first runs are not my best ones, and maybe too much thinking of making points, and I don't know. And between the runs I were thinking about what can I do to be faster in the second run. Should I change something on a setup? Should I change? I don't know. I have so many skis, so many opportunities, and they are all working great. And before a second run, we discussed it. Take the risk. It doesn't matter if you're skiing out or not. Take the risk. Come on. It is racing and not a tactical game.
The podium was completed by Alexander Koroshilov, the 32-year-old Russian who continues to have highs and lows following a tough start to the season.
You need some experience to ski fast here, so I think it's almost impossible to beat here in Marcel. He was really fast. He's every time second round he's pushing like a hell.
It was another impressive performance by the Canadian Eric Reed, 7th. Daniel Yule was again amongst the best, while Norway's day was rescued by the excellent Jonathan Nordbotten, 9th. And a personal best by Life, Christian Haugen, 4th.
4th place here in Kitzbühel, I'm pretty satisfied. That means I've taken a pretty big step in slalom lately, and it's not an easy hill. Same with Wengen. I got some experience from there with sitting 2 after first run and then pushing, so I'm learning every race now to find that good pace.
Years ago in the GS in Garmisch-Partenkirchen entered the history book due to the winning margin of a 3.28 seconds that the winner inflicted over second place. In 2017, that gap was considerably reduced, but the winner was always the same, Marcel Hirscher, superlative and unbeatable on the extremely long German slope. The Austrian had clocked the second fastest time by 9/100th behind Alexis Pinturault in the first run. A repeat of many a race this season from Val d'Isère to Adelboden. Once again, Hirscher turned on the turbo in the decisive run, accelerating away from every turn, as if he wanted to avenge the numerous runners-up spots he has picked up this season. He crossed the line with a lead of 1.5 seconds, and Alexis Pinturault knew he had to be absolutely perfect in order to stay ahead of the Austrian. It wasn't to be. Alexis almost came to a standstill with this mistake, but even so managed to cross the line in fourth place, which meant Marcel was left celebrating a fully deserved victory on one of the most difficult slopes on the Tour.
After Adelboden, my world was completely in shape because skiing like I did in Adelboden showed me what is possible already, and today is definitely not more worth than the second place in Adelboden so far.
I think Marcel from Adelboden and today showed to everybody that he's stronger than everybody else, I think, and even stronger than before, because I think no chance to beat him in the second one.
Hirscher's march in the overall standings continues, and he's also increased his lead in the GS standings, now up to 97 points over Pinturault and 173 over Mathieu Febvre. He managed a good fifth place in Garmisch, even though he was a long way behind Hirscher, almost 2.5 seconds. But who cares about the time difference when you can celebrate your first podium in World Cup? That is certainly what Mats Olsen must have been thinking after finally breaking his duck in Garmisch at the age of 28, following a long career of highs and lows and plenty of injuries.
It's amazing. I've been waiting so long for this one, so yeah, just enjoying every second. It took a while, and yeah, it's always nice. You can be happy for top 10 and anyway, but you always I would like to be on that podium, and now I got to stand on it.
There were 15,000 spectators for this giant slalom, and local racer Felix Neureuter, a little bruised after the straddle in Schladming, did well to finish 6th, while his teammate Stefan Luitz made the most of Pinturault's error to claim the 4th podium of his career.
You have to push so hard when you go on the podium, and I tried to go as fast as possible and risk a lot, and yeah, it pays off.
This was the last weekend of action for the men before the finals in Aspen, and this was the 41st giant slalom to take place in Kranička Gora. The Podgorin slope was a little bare and very wet ahead of the race, as the weather conditions once again failed to give the Slovenian resort a hand. Salt and water were essential to keep the snow glued together and to allow the race to go ahead as normal. There were some crucial points to be won for the GS at slalom and overall standings that involved only 3 races. Pinturault and Hirscher in GS, and the Austrian again and Christophersen in the slalom. The race for the GS Globe was over almost before the race had even begun, following a disastrous start by Alexis Pinturault with number 1. First, a slip that he managed to recover from, then the fatal error that sent him out of both this race and the race for the GS Globe. For a man that at the start of the season had seemed unbeatable in GS, it was another tough blow to take after the disappointing World Championships in St. Moritz.
Of course, right now it's not my best moment. I didn't find my motivation during this weekend, and that's going to be the main point for Aspen, for me.
The spectators were shocked, but at the start gate it was business as usual, and one man in particular was ready to take full advantage of the situation. Marcel Hirscher went on to produce a first run of pure brilliance, and he performed like a warrior in the second through the thick fog. Thanks to the 100 points, this win in Kraniska also brought with it two even more important victories, his 6th overall title in a row, and also the GS title. His current collection boasts 6 overall globes, 4 globes in GS, 4 in slalom, 44 World Cup wins, and 106 podium finishes, 1 Olympic medal, and 9 World Championships medals, 6 gold. The comparison with Ingemar Stenmark is more than justified.
It is unbelievable. It is so unexpected to have this overall World Cup title right now. I were hoping to find a decision tomorrow, but it is so unexpected to have it right now, and so I'm pretty empty, and I'm searching for the right words. But thank you, all the people around me, around my person. You did an amazing job, and this, what you are all doing, is just the reason that I can ski faster.
Flanking the Austrian on the podium on this memorable day were Leif Christian Haugen and Mats Olsen. The Norwegian was one of the last to come down before the long interruption because of the fog, and the favourable conditions meant he moved up 10 places to claim his very first podium in World Cup, following the medal in St. Moritz.
I felt a little bit on the nerves today. I wanted to back it up and show that this is not, like I said, not a one-time thing, and I think I showed well that I belong up there, and to have a career best after World Champs is unbelievable.
Mats Olsen was back on the podium after Garmisch. Along with Hirscher, he was the only one to defend himself in the fog of the second run, moving up from 6th to 3rd place.
Yeah, skiing today was tough, and I had a second run. I had no idea if it was good or bad, so it was a nice surprise to see the second sign on when I arrived in the finish.
The poor visibility had a major effect on Henrik Kristoffersen and Justin Mauricier, who were lying 2nd and 3rd respectively after run 1. They slipped down to 11th and 12th place, and the Norwegian, who was livid, lost important points for the final podium of the discipline, even though both he and Neureuter can still catch Fevre in 3rd place. Marcel Hirscher is the living proof that in skiing the psychological aspect counts for 80%. Following the own goal from Alexis Pinturault in GS, serving the Austrian the globe on a silver platter, 24 hours later it was the turn of Henrik Kristoffersen to try and take the Slalom Cup down to the last race of the season in Aspen. First out of the gate, Hirscher laid down a first run that was neither brilliant nor terrible. The second out of the gate, the Italian Stefano Gross skied exceptionally and was leading Hirscher by almost a second and a half. But the true test was to come with number 3, Kristoffersen, virtually unbeatable in the first part of the season, but so disappointed with his 4th place in St. Moritz. Maybe it was the pressure, or maybe it was that his form was not as good as in January. But the Norwegian slipped out after a few gates, and although he did stay in the race, he finished almost 5 seconds behind, which meant he did not qualify for the second run, practically laying out a red carpet for his rival and a third globe of the season. Third at the halfway stage, Marcel knew that a top 5 finish was enough to add another trophy to his unmatchable career. He switched on the autopilot, and after a controlled run through the ruts and bumps of the Podkoren, he was celebrating a result that left him off the podium for only the second time this season after Zagreb. The 4th place was more than enough to clinch the slalom globe and equal Ingemar Stenmark's record of 3 globes and 2 gold medals in the same season. Finally, the champion can take some time to relax.
Today, I mean, the most different is to feel this feeling of being free. There's no pressure on my shoulder. For me personally, it doesn't matter if it is raining, snowing, sun is shining. I don't care about it. It is here to be here and to be part of the World Cup ski racing. And this is the big difference. Usually you're just thinking about making points, scoring points, scoring. And this is sometimes making you crazy.
For me, it's not good because he is so good. I'm fighting pretty much my whole ski career with him. At the end, the winner is always Marcel. I know this feeling for like 3 years in a row. I got second in the slalom, and he's a machine.
Even his rivals were overwhelmed, although they are proud to have competed alongside him and to have beaten him on the odd occasion. And that is what happened in Kranička, because Felix Neureuter was 3rd behind Stefano Gross, who lost over a second in run 2, handing the victory over to Michael Matt. After a season of highs and lows following the podium in Levi, the younger brother of Mario was celebrating his first victory and kept the Austrian flag flying high.
After Schladming, before the World Champs, I trained really good and made a big step forward. And yeah, now today I skied 2 runs, 2 solid and really good runs, and that's, yeah, it's just amazing, the result.